Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. Currently in the story of One Piece, there are multiple events taking place. We have battles and some more yet to come, as well as mysteries being revealed throughout this incredible Egghead Island arc. And it also looks like the Straw Hats might be getting into some serious danger. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the expectations we have for our next chapter of 1077 of One Piece. We're going to comment on possible events that could happen and what the outcome of this arc might end up being. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like and even subscribe and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out, especially with that old YouTube algorithm, and it continues to motivate us to make more content. If you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, there have been many unexpected events happening in this latest arc of One Piece. We have enemies becoming temporary allies, allies revealing themselves to be enemies, providing multiple unexpected events within the story. Right now, there's a pretty big problem inside Egghead's laboratory, an even bigger obstacle than just the CP0 agents themselves. It is 100% confirmed that there is a traitor in our midst. Someone has been causing Vegapunk's escape to be halted or prevented for some unknown reason. Also, more and more it's looking like this isn't just a new arrival having recently infiltrated, but rather somebody who's been undercover for quite a long time, orchestrating this grand plan, slowly leaking information to the world government about Vegapunk's illegal research to the point that the world government sent CP0 to assassinate Vegapunk as well as his satellite punks. However, during that plan, there was an unforeseen event that took place that this traitorous punk could never foresee: the Straw Hats coming into Egghead Island, and then forming an alliance with Vegapunk to help him escape. It's for this reason the traitor had to start acting on their own so they could hopefully still complete their objective. For starters, the traitor was able to deactivate the shields that surrounded the lab phase, and this is what allowed CP0 to infiltrate that level of the complex. They also used a seraphim that were in the laboratory to cause some big confusion, tricking the Straw Hats and preventing them from being able to find Vegapunk and help him escape. This invader has a great deal of knowledge about how the lab works, so everything indicates that this person is one of the punks who's managed to keep their cover quite the long time and for some reason just hasn't revealed who they are. They're also ultimately looking to sabotage Vegapunk's escape. One of our predictions and expectations is that the true identity will only be revealed when the real Vegapunk is found, or at least when the Navy and the Gorosei Saturn finally make landfall on Egghead Island. So in the meantime, this punk, this undercover agent, is disrupting the plans of Vegapunk and everyone else that's an ally as much as possible, using every available means to prevent Vegapunk from leaving the island. This is also the reason that this infiltrator is trying to take the lives of everyone in the laboratory at all costs, including the lives of the CP0 agents that were already there to take Vegapunk's life, but ended up allying themselves with the Straw Hats to keep from dying from the Seraphim. Because when the Seraphim started shooting everywhere, it was obvious they were looking to end everybody in that room. And it was only because Luffy, in Luffy fashion, trusted both Rob Lucci and Kaku that they were able to then join forces and help everyone get out of harm's way. And it also seems that whoever is doing this also removed the ability for any other punk to give orders to the Seraphim. That way, none of the other punks would be able to interfere with the Seraphim assassinating everyone there because they'd get the surprise attack. And also, the more that we find out about what's been going on, the more it really seems that this infiltrator is quite capable because they were able to imprison not only other members of Cypherpol that had been snooping around, but also was able to imprison Stella himself. And this couldn't be just anybody who would have been able to take down the real Vegapunk and then slide into his place. But now that there's been this huge distraction with the Seraphim, this traitorous individual is going to have the opportunity to be able to seek out the real Vegapunk and take care of business, as well as taking any other opportunities to take out the Straw Hats as well. One thing that's uncertain is that this individual may in fact be waiting for the Navy to reach Egghead Island so they can take care of the Straw Hats and Vegapunk, allowing this mysterious person not only to be able to slide amongst and keep feeding information, but also flawlessly execute their overall plan. With the arrival of the Marines on Egghead Island, the 50 pacipistas that are already prowling the island to keep CP0 at bay will most likely advance on them, looking to take out as many sailors as possible so Vegapunk still has the opportunity to escape. Now, though these machines are incredibly powerful, these 50 new pacifistas aren't gonna be able to stay and keep them away for very long. We have over 100 Navy ships coming in, as well as extremely powerful Marines that are coming to make landfall. So it's gonna be impossible for these robots to be able to do much more than buy a tiny bit of time. So unless the main facility has its ability to defend itself, Vegapunk and the Straw Hats are gonna be in some serious trouble, because once the Navy gets there, the Navy's gonna do everything in their power to stop them from escaping. Just to give it a little bit of perspective, the Buster Call that destroyed the island of Ohara and just leveled it to the ground was 10 Navy ships. Now, the Navy ships used in a Buster Call may not be all of the vessels going, but 100 ships is more likely a significant force and possibly the biggest that's ever been deployed anywhere in the world of One Piece. We also have to add on the fact that Admiral Kizaru and even the Gorosei Saturn are heading there personally. Two extremely powerful people. Well, at least Kizaru, and many in the community have speculated that Saturn must be even more powerful than Kizaru, which means these two alone could defeat multiple enemies, or pretty much anybody that stands in front of them. One uncertainty, however, is how it may play out with Lucci and Kaku. Right now, they're assisting the Straw Hats in keeping everybody alive because this pacifista that's in the room, the Seraphim turned on them and started shooting. But with the arrival of the Marines on Egghead Island, we don't know if they're actually going to stay allied. Now, we know what Kaku said, and he was very forward about the fact that he wanted to kill everybody. Lucci, on the other hand, we just don't know. So it's ultimately going to come down to whether Luffy's magic of turning enemies into friends still holds in these dire moments. So perhaps the CP0 agents are just going to bide their time, much like our undercover saboteur, because they know once the Marines are on Egghead Island, they're going to be able to count on their support to help them beat the Straw Hats, and even maybe have to take out a couple of the punks. Or at least, maybe they'll just try and help wear out the Straw Hats. So once the Navy's there, they'll have a much better chance of taking out this pirate crew. Let's remember that even though Luffy is quite powerful because of just awakening his fruit, with his Gear 5th transformation, he's only going to have time and power to face one enemy. And we don't know if he wants to really use that transformation, and also what the long-term effects of using it will end up being on his life. We also have to consider the idea that if Admiral Kizaru and Gorosei Saturn are both really strong, these are major threats to Luffy, so he's only going to be able to choose to fight one in a battle, because once he transforms, although he can use it to amazingly great effect and he's pretty much immortal, this is going to cause him to be extremely exhausted after that transformation. Just think back to that little bit of it we saw him use against Rob Lucci. Although Luffy didn't put in nearly as much effort as he did when he was fighting against Kaido, Luffy was still completely exhausted and unable to continue fighting against Seraphim Kuma. So if we do flash forward to a moment where we have both Kizaru and the Gorosei there in front of Luffy, we also have to wonder what if Luffy actually has to fight against them individually. Now, as we saw in his fight against Kaido, Luffy does have the ability to make his heart beat faster, and it sounds with the drums of liberation. And this was also one of the reasons why he was able to persist in this battle. However, this great advantage also comes at an immense cost, as Luffy's lifespan is drained when he overuses this ability, because the speeding of his heart causes him to lose his life much faster. If Luffy was able to exceed his limit, this would make capturing him much more possible. And also the fact that Luffy really doesn't know how to use this power in the wisest way yet. And he also may not be thinking further ahead because he doesn't really know that the Navy is inbound. Finally, we do expect in this next installment of 1077, we're going to get a little bit of the conflict between Shanks and, of course, Eustace Kid, demonstrating the beginning of what could end up being an incredible battle between these two red-headed captains. Now, whether we get to see the whole battle or if it's played out kind of like the way that Law and Teach's battle has been getting played out, where we get to see the beginning and then just little snippets along the way, that remains to be seen, because Oda really is going to be juggling potentially 2 to 3 major points of battle all simultaneously in different locations. But this also makes us wonder that if Law ends up losing to Teach and the same thing happens to Kid and Shanks, could it be that there's maybe going to be a 3 for 3 and it's not going to look good for the Straw Hats, showing that the 3 pirates that just faced Kaido from this new generation, well, there's going to be something even bigger awaiting them after this end of the Egghead Island arc. But with all that said, that brings us to the end of our expectations for chapter 1077, and we'd now love to know what you think about it. First off, how do you think things turned out between Law and Teach? And also, what do you expect to happen between Kid and Shanks? We know that Shanks is really powerful, but Kid also seems to have some kind of a grudge. How do you see this playing out? And finally, who do you think this imposter person is that's on Egghead Island with the straw hats? It's been pulling all the strings. Is it this counterfeit Vegapunk? Or is it perhaps somebody even sneakier? Let us know what you think about all that in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video today, we'd like to thank all of you so much for watching, especially those of you who've made it here to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, make sure you give us a like and hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. Hope to see you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.